In 2624, at Lijiang Academy, students gathered for the class awakening ceremony. Headmaster Liu Hang explained its significance. Knowing the first awakening determined one's future. Some dreamed of becoming powerful combat classes like berserkers, while others aimed for supportive roles like pharmacists. The world had changed since Eternal, a virtual reality game, merged with reality. Players leveled up, changed classes, and fought monsters. Zhou Yi, transmigrated from another world, stood among the students. His life was harsh. His mother had passed away, and his sister Xuan suffered from a mysterious illness. Desperate to save Xuan, Zhou Yi sold their home and begged for money to pay for treatment. But without finding the cause, her life remained in danger. The class awakening ceremony offered a glimmer of hope, a chance to gain abilities to save his sister and change their fate. Zhou Yi's thoughts are consumed by his sister's rising medical expenses. His part-time job barely covers the costs. To solve this, he needs a combat class to enter the maps, hunt monsters, and earn enough to get his sister treated by a higher-level priest. A level 24 mage arrives and instructs the students to step into the formation when their numbers are called. He then activates the formation with his wand. A huge purple magic circle appears, generating strong winds and pressure, making it difficult for the students to stand. Seeing the display of power, the students are impressed by the level 24 mage's abilities. Zhou Yi, bracing against the wind, thinks about how lucrative the job must be, with a mage earning a six-figure income for hosting such ceremonies. Soon, Li Ziyang, the 5th class teacher, calls the first student, Zhang Chong, to step into the magic circle. All eyes are on the ceremony, knowing how crucial this moment is for their futures. Zhou Yi watches closely, fully aware that his life, and his sister's, depends on his awakening. If it doesn't go well, his chances of helping either of them will vanish. 3 types of magical cards appear in the circle: Pharmacist, Enchanter, and Decomposer. The cards seem to depend on the person's awakening. One by one, students enter the circle as their numbers are called. Finally, Zhou Yi, at number 30, steps forward. His classmates cheer for him as the class representative. Despite his strong academic performance and good stats, class awakening isn't predictable. Anything can happen. His classmates hope he awakens a powerful class. Meanwhile, Tang Tanjun, the 6th class teacher, approaches Li Yangyong and asks about his class's progress and how many students have awakened a combat class. Li Yangyong replies with 16. Tang Tanjun mocks him, boasting that 21 of his own students have awakened combat classes, including a rare one, securing their quota for the yearly exam. Li Yangyong begins to feel irritated. Seeing no movement in the magic circle, Tang Tanjun asks why the class representative isn't moving. All eyes turn to Zhou Yi, puzzled by his stillness. Zhou Yi stands in the circle, eyes closed. Suddenly, his necklace begins to glow with a golden light, leaving him confused. He realizes the light is coming from his necklace. Moments later, a system notification appears before him. System energy detected. System activating. Loading complete. Strongest class support system activated. Rookie starter gift. S+ grade talent, protection of the sacred angel. Zhou Yi stares at the system in disbelief. He rubs his eyes, but the notification is still there. Remembering the necklace, he realizes it's the same one he bought from a street stall in his previous life. It came with him after his transmigration, but all tests showed it was useless, so he gave up on it. Now the system has activated and given him a powerful gift, arriving just when he needs it most. Zhou Yi scans the system messages and sees he's received the S+ grade talent, protection of a sacred angel. His affinity with light-type abilities has significantly increased, and all light and divine skills will be amplified. In this world, talents are ranked from F to S, with higher grades providing stronger effects. Crucially, the classes that appear during the awakening ceremony are closely linked to the talents a person possesses. Outside the magic circle, Zhou Yi's class teacher watches closely, worried because Zhou Yi hasn't moved for a long time. The students also start whispering among themselves, wondering why he's just staring into the air. They speculate that it's impossible. There hasn't been a case like this for centuries. Could it be that Zhou Yi is unable to awaken a class? Suddenly, the clouds parted, and a beam of golden light struck Zhou Yi in the magic circle. The students froze, startled by the sudden change in the atmosphere. The headmaster, noticing the event, explained that it was a class awakening phenomenon. An angel emerged from the golden light, hovering in front of Zhou Yi. He stared at her, speechless. The students were silent, awed by the sight of an angel during the awakening. The angel radiated golden light, her eyes blindfolded, and exuding divine energy. After observing Zhou Yi for a moment, she floated closer, smiling. The light is your belief and the source of your power. With your faith, the sacred light will protect you and burn away all evil. I will always be with you, the angel said before merging into Zhou Yi's body. A golden symbol of divinity appeared on his forehead and eyes, and a radiant golden light enveloped him. Though he briefly looked like he was in pain, it quickly passed. Suddenly, 3 spiritual symbols appeared in front of Zhou Yi. The watching students were astonished. Some whispered in amazement. What incredible luck! Getting a new talent during the class awakening ceremony. Others speculated. It must be the protection of the sacred angel. Everyone was curious about the class, as they had never seen anything like it before. Inside the magic circle, Zhou Yi examined the symbols. Mage of Light, Sacred Priest, and Saint Knight. He had to choose one. The Mage of Light offered pure DPS with high damage but lacked protective skills. The Priest had numerous life-saving abilities and the unique resurrection skill, though their combat strength was low. The Saint Knight provided a balanced skill set for defense, offense, and buffs. While it didn't excel in any area, Zhou Yi's affinity for light made it an ideal choice. Without hesitation, Zhou Yi chose the Saint Knight. The other 2 symbols vanished. The Saint Knight began to rotate his hammer and proclaimed, humility, honesty, bravery, empathy, responsibility, to commit acts of glory, pursue justice, and fight for your life. This is a Saint Knight. After reciting the Knight's Oath, the Saint Knight stood still. Zhou Yi watched calmly as golden light erupted from his back, flowing behind the Saint Knight. A system notification appeared. Congratulations on awakening the Saint Knight class. Zhou Yi receives level 10 skills. Blade of Pure White, Slow Regeneration, and Weapon Blessing. He also gains 10 extra unassigned points as he steps out of the magic circle. Students surround him, eager to congratulate and team up with him for the final exam, hoping for high scores. The teacher intervenes, dispersing everyone. His eyes shine with a greedy look, as if he has accomplished something significant. He tells Zhou Yi to go home, rest, and visit the headmaster's office tomorrow. Noticing the teacher's unsettling expression, Zhou Yi thinks his face looks very scary. At home, Zhou Yi checks his stats and feels his heart race as he reads them. His name is Zhou Yi, with a strength of 20, constitution of 18, agility of 17, intelligence of 15, and he is a Saint Knight. His stats have increased since awakening, and he has unassigned points to allocate. He carefully decides to put 6 points into strength, 2 into constitution, 1 into agility, and 1 into intelligence. As he makes these adjustments, energy radiates from his body like golden light. Zhou Yi feels the power surging within him and reflects on how incredible this change feels. A system notification appears. Saint Knight mission activated. The daily mission. Saint K, he can choose 2 rewards upon first completion of the mission. 10 extra stat points, Saint Knight skills, or random Saint Knight equipment. Knight's Challenge Level 1 is initiated. He can choose 2 rewards upon first completion. Zhou Yi feels a surge of excitement and immediately accepts the mission. The challenge adjusts to his power level, and another notification follows. Match complete. His objective is to kill the Grady Ancient Rabby monster. The warning is clear. Treat the trial seriously. Dying in the trial results in dying in real life. Zhou Yi is startled, but quickly finds himself inside a mine. He remembers learning that ancient Rabby monsters inhabit these areas. They aren't naturally aggressive, but become violent when they encounter humans. Suddenly, a monster charges at him from behind. Zhou Yi dodges effortlessly, choosing to fight without using his skills. He feels his increased agility and strength. The monster becomes enraged and launches repeated attacks, but Zhou Yi evades each one. Eventually, the monster strikes Zhou Yi with its tail, wounding him. Blood seeps from his stomach, and he activates his slow regeneration skill. He realizes he was careless while healing and understands that real monsters are different despite his training. Determined to end the fight, Zhou Yi activates Blade of Pure White, unleashing a powerful cross-shaped slash that freezes the monster in place. Seizing the moment, he uses Tiger Pounce, grabbing the monster and hurling it to the ground, dealing heavy damage. After a series of attacks, he finally destroys the monster. A system notification appears. announcing that he has killed the ancient Rabbi monster and completed the trial with a score of A. He is then presented with rewards to choose from: 10 extra stat points, Saint Knight skills, or random Saint Knight equipment. Zhou Yi contemplates his options. Extra stat points will enhance his strength, but a good weapon will aid him in future trials. He decides to take the stat points and random equipment. A basic one-handed sword appears as his reward. As the mission concludes, the environment shifts, and Zhou Yi returns to his room. He checks his phone and finds a message instructing him to go to the hospital. Meanwhile, his sister Xuan is watching TV at the hospital. A news report announces that a student triggered the phenomenon of a sacred angel descending during their class awakening. The student chose a hidden class, Saint Knight, the first occurrence in 50 years. Suddenly, a nurse interrupts and angrily shows Xuan a bill for 10,000. Worried, Xuan asks if there's a mistake because she earns only 5,000 a month from 3 jobs. The nurse snaps back, explaining that Xuan used a lot of medicine this month, including suppressants and stabilizers, and even called a priest. She reminds Xuan that her disease acted up and they had to care for her at midnight, telling her not to complain. Flustered, Xuan tries to explain, but the nurse continues, saying that poor people should accept their fate and not struggle if they can't pay. At that moment, a few people approach. One places a hand on the nurse's shoulder and mentions he heard her insulting patients, suggesting they see if she keeps talking like this in the director's office. The nurse, intimidated, grumbles but leaves. Confused, Xuan asks who he is. The man bows politely, hands her a card, and introduces himself as a friend of her big brother. Zhou Yi quickly arrives at the hospital where his sister is admitted. As he enters the room, he holds the medical bill and shows it to Ziyun. He explains that he just wants to pay the bills, but the hospital system indicates a balance of 10,000 Y that needs to be paid. Confused, he asks Ziyun if she knows what's happening. Ziyun feels happy to see her brother. At that moment, the 2 men who had come to meet Ziyun earlier are interacting with her. They turn to look at Zhou Yi. Puzzled, Zhou Yi asks who they are. One of them stands up, approaches Zhou Yi, and introduces himself as Zhou Wenbing, the mayor's secretary, wanting to discuss some matters. Zhou Wenbing extends his hand to shake Zhou Yi's hand. Seeing the secretary, Zhou Yi wonders why someone like him is approaching, knowing that the mayor is the most powerful man in Jiangli City and that his secretary can sometimes represent the mayor himself. Zhou Yi shakes hands with Zhou Wenbing and suggests that the patient room is not suitable for their conversation. They decide to go elsewhere. As they leave, Zhou Wen asks the other man to stay behind to accompany Miss Yun. Ziyun, Zhou Yi's sister, plays happily with the man, unaware that her brother has achieved a hidden class. At a cafe, people are already talking about Zhou Yi. A girl tells her friends about the hidden class revealed at the second academy. They ask who it was, and she shows them a leaked photo of Zhou Yi, commenting that he looks handsome. Nearby, Zhou Yi and Zhou Wen are ready to continue their discussion. Zhou Wen congratulates Zhou Yi on receiving the Sacred Angel's S-grade talent protection and Saint Knight class awakening. Zhou Yi feels happy and remarks that he was lucky. Zhou Wen laughs, noting that receiving an S-grade talent during a regular class awakening ceremony isn't something achievable with just luck. He then places a special Citibank wallet key in front of Zhou Yi, indicating that the mayor is interested in him. Zhou Yi informs the media to leave him alone and arranges cultivation resources for Armic to prepare for the exam. The resources are stored in the Citibank vault, and he possesses the only key. Utilizing these resources, Zhou Yi can quickly increase his power. Xuan presents the keys and inquires if Zhou Yi has any additional requests. Zhou Yi contemplates that the mayor sees potential in him and believes investing in him is worthwhile, even though he knows there are no free lunches and the mayor expects repayment someday. Xuan continues, explaining that a professional medical team will now serve Miss Xuan 24 hours a day and that the mayor has contacted a level 36 second-grade priest to come to Jiangli City. This offer presents a great opportunity for Zhou Yi, allowing him to achieve his goals while ensuring his sister receives the care she needs. Zhou Yi accepts the offer without hesitation. At the hospital, Zhou Yi tells his sister, Ziyun, about the offer. Her face lights up with happiness. She excitedly asks to stay close to him. Zhou Yi tries to push her away, telling her to focus on her recovery. But Ziyun holds him and says every class has exclusive skills and asks about his. She listens as Zhou Yi explains his 3 Saint Knight skills: Blade of Pure White for attacks, Slow Regeneration for healing, and Weapon Blessing for support. He uses slow regeneration on her, and she feels as if she's getting a full-body massage in a hot spring. Zhou Yi asks if she feels better, and she nods happily. Her pain gone and her movements easier. He chose Saint Night to help reduce her pain, even though it can't fully heal her. Zhou Yi is happy to see his sister smiling, because he does everything for his family. The next day, Zhou Yi goes to the academy with the headmaster. The headmaster tells him that dozens of universities have contacted him to recruit him. For teachers from the top 10 universities are especially interested. He encourages Zhou Yi to fight for as many resources as possible. These teachers are secondary Awaken class holders above level 35, offering the best training. Zhou Yi asks which universities are interested. The headmaster lists Rongyong University, Xuan University, Zhou University, and Hen University. Zhou Yi wonders why the top 3 universities aren't among them. The headmaster explains that the top 3 always recruit based on exam results and never consider talent or special admissions. They reach the room where the teachers from the 4 universities are gathered. Outside the door, Zhou Yi and the headmaster stand while inside. The teachers argue over who will get Zhou Yi's attention. Zhou Yi and the headmaster stand outside the room, listening to the heated argument among the university representatives. They debate over who will recruit Zhou Yi. One mentions that Xuan University is 4,000 kilometers away from Jiangli City and questions the lengths others have gone to be here. The representative from Xuan University mentions using a super long-distance teleportation array, which consumes a level 30 magic core each time. He confidently declares that Xuan University will secure Zhou Yi, believing their skills will speak for themselves. The headmaster, Luo Hang, opens the door and announces Zhou Yi's arrival. He introduces the recruitment teachers, Mr. Zhou Tianfu from Rongyang University, Mr. Liebing from Xuan University, Ms. Zhu Yu from Hanqing University, and Mr. Yu Yan from Anji University. Zhou Yi bows respectfully and greets them, impressing the teachers with his humility despite his hidden class. Mr. Jan Fu steps forward to present his offer. He proposes that if Zhou Yi joins Rongyang University, he will receive 2 million yuan and an exclusive skill book for 3 Saint Night classes. This prompts Zhou Yi to think. A regular family's monthly income is only 6,000 yuan, making 2 million and rare skill books extraordinary. Even the mayor hadn't provided resources at this level. Li Bing from Xuan University then mocks Jan's offer and presents a better one. He offers Zhou Yi 3 million yuan upon admission, 3 Saint Night skill books annually, and classes taught by a level 56 tertiary Awakened Knight. This offer surpasses Jan's, making both Zhou Yi and the headmaster consider the implications. A level 56 knight is among the planet's elite, and becoming his disciple would provide unmatched benefits. As they think, Ms. Yu from Hang University makes her offer. Hang University has limited admission funds, only 2 million yuan, but when Zhou Yi is offered admission to the university, they promise to give him a B-class cultivation resource immediately. As soon as the B-class resource is mentioned, his headmaster quickly looks at him, urging him to accept because such resources are priceless. With treasures like these, even pigs can be trained into the strongest of monsters. All the recruitment teachers wait to hear Zhou Yi's decision after making their offers. However, he refuses special admission from all of them. His headmaster beside him goes completely crazy upon hearing this. Ms. Yu angrily asks why he is declining. Zhou Yi explains that he wants to attend one of the top 3 universities. Among the top 10, the top 3 are Sukong University, Jing University, and Modi University, praised as the best in the country. They only recruit 1,000 students each year, and their admission is not limited to humans. Elves, giants, and other races can enter as well. Other races are naturally stronger than humans. With countless elites in the country, entering the top 3 universities is as hard as climbing to the heavens. Jan laughs loudly and then angrily tells Zhou Yi that he thought he was a good kid, but now sees him as an ignorant brat. He says Zhou Yi has lost too much in his first 18 years and lacks the resources to catch up. Jan points out that Zhou Yi is weak with low stats, making it difficult for him to enter the top 3 universities. Even if he manages to get in, without focused training, he'll remain at the bottom for life. As he speaks, Jan exerts his internal energy pressure on Zhou Yi. The force is so intense that Zhou Yi struggles to stand. Thanks to his recent training, he's able to withstand it. Luo Hang quickly steps in front of Zhou Yi, releasing his own pressure, and angrily confronts Jan, asking if he intends to bully his student on his own grounds. Ms. Yu watches from a distance, noticing that Zhou Yi is standing up to Jan's aura for so long. She realizes there's something special about him. After this, Jan withdraws his aura and starts to leave. The other teachers also begin to depart, saying that student recruitment looks not only for potential, but also for attitude. They believe that with such an attitude, Zhou Yi will become nothing even if he's recruited. They bid farewell to Headmaster Luo, mentioning they won't prolong their stay since Zhou Yi has such high ambitions. Seeing them leave, the headmaster tries to stop them, asking them to give the child one more chance. Ms. Yu, while leaving, approaches Zhou Yi and says he's brave, but that Mr. Zhao's words are true. She mentions that there are countless elites in their country and that other races are innately stronger than humans. Entering the top 3 universities is as hard as climbing to the heavens. Zhou Yi laughs and answers that he will prove his power with the result of the exam. There is one more month until the exam. He is definitely able to raise his strength to a horrifying degree with the help of his system. He is confident that he will gain admission into all 3 universities. He asks his friends what they think. He frets over whether he can get into any of these 3 universities. In the comments, he asks for opinions. Jan reflects upon listening to Zhou Yi. She notes that it has been a long time since she sees such strong and resolute eyes. She feels as if she has gone back to the days of fighting on the front lines. They stay too long in a peaceful place, and even their mindset seeks stability. She no longer shares the same mindset as those young people. She departs from there and tells Judy her last words. He says that he is waiting for their results. She says they will meet again, Mr. Xuan. The story then shifts to a month later when the exam begins. The students say that this time the examiner is Demon Yang. That examiner makes all students fear failing. The students express worry about the examiner, noting that he is the one who created those dangerous questions 2 years ago, and their district's average score that year is a new low record. Some of the students bring up Zhou Yi, and they all begin discussing him among themselves. He appears to be powerful. A portal appears, showing details about the map called Secret Realm, revealing all the information about the Secret Realm. Students take their exams in the Secret Realm, deep inside the Dark Forest. Levels range from 10 to 13, and the difficulty includes easy, hard, and nightmare. Deep inside the Dark Forest. It lists the difficulty levels and dangers, like cat monsters. The group talks about the challenges they might face. An instructor warns them to be careful, reminding them of the risks. Everyone gets ready for the test. Different classes and their members are shown on screens, each with unique challenges and numbers. Some are in groups, while others are alone. The Class 1 Vanguard team faces a difficult task with a minimum of 8 members. Class 2 goes in solo, and Class 3 has a team of 4. A student named Zhou Yi appears, gaining attention as he faces the map alone. The spectators comment on his choice to go solo, recognizing the high risk involved. Zhou Yi, from Class 5, enters the Dark Forest alone, taking on a nightmare-level challenge as a Saint Knight. The difficulty level and solo status are displayed on screen, highlighting his dangerous choice. He even selects the nightmare difficulty, which has a 40% death rate, making his attempt even more risky. The audience, including Director of Education Zhang Tao, is surprised as they watch the scene unfold. 2 officials discuss Zhou Yi's situation. The city council has given him resources to ensure success. They worry that if he fails and dies, it will damage the city's reputation. The education director feels very nervous because the city council gives a lot of resources to Zhou Yi this month to give him the chance of getting a good result. If he dies on the map, the entire Lijiang city government's public opinion takes a hit. Zhou Yi takes a step that indicates he is ignoring the support of the government. The education director thinks about this and gets very angry, but the headmaster sitting next to him tries to calm him down by saying that he shouldn't worry. Zhou Yi is not a rash person. He has his own trump card here. Inside the map, many bloodthirsty red eyes are simultaneously after Zhou. Xuan is aware of all of them, and to eliminate them, Xuan unleashes his weapon. There is no fear in Zhou Yi's eyes after seeing so many monsters of nightmare difficulty. It seems as if he achieves a lot in this 1 month. However, just then, a cat monster reaches full speed to attack Zhou Yi. Seeing him, Zhou is ready. He states that they have come at the right time, and as soon as the monster comes close to him, he kills the monster right there in one attack with his weapon. It increases strength by 7%, and after equipping, it reduces agility by 2%. As the hero kills the monster, a divine gold-colored aurora emerges from the sides of his body, and the passion to do something is visible in his eyes. After killing the monster, Zhou Yi stands there with very angry eyes. There is blood on his face, but he wants to go to the best university, so he has to do more than this. Meanwhile, they see some stats of Zhou Yi, in which his strength is 45, his constitution is 51, his agility is 43, and his intelligence is 52. Seeing them, Zhou Yi thinks in his mind that in 1 month, he reaches level 10, but his average stat points have reached an outrageous 47, equal to level 13. Even in the entire Xuan district, he enters the top rankings of examinees that a long time passes since this one monster is killed, but they see that many monsters follow Zhou Yi, who do not come out of fear after the death of one of their companions. Therefore, Zhou Yi decides to go and kill them himself, rushing towards all of them at his full speed. Zhou Yi quickly applies level 4 weapon blessing on his weapon, which is of grade C. Condensed holy light increases the attack power and accuracy of weapons for teammates within a certain range. After this, friends, Zhou Yi cuts all those monsters one by one, like carrots and radishes, as if he plays with them. Under the S+ grade talent, the Protection of Sacred Angels effect enhances the Saint Knight exclusive skill Weapon Blessing as well. They increase the strength of a single-bladed axe by 21 points. Other students are jealous of Zhou Yi having such a powerful buff, since the university exam limits their weapons to below 3-star bronze. But the axe in Zhou Yi's hand has the same effect as a 5-star bronze. After buffing, each statistic is enough to cover the distance that exists between Zhou Yi and everyone else in the exam. Zhou Yi kills them all one by one. Seeing their comrades dying continuously, some monsters attack Zhou Yi simultaneously. But Zhou Yi immediately unleashes the Blood of Pure White skill and destroys them all in a matter of seconds. The Blood of Pure White skill that Zhou Yi activates is of level 5 and grade C. In a way, they see that there is an electric current running in his hands, and he cuts all those monsters with both his hands, due to which his XP continuously increases and continuous notifications show on the system screen inside the map. Zhou Yi beats them continuously while the students sitting outside are completely surprised to see Zhou Yi's performance. All of them one by one say, "Wow." The teacher of a different class wonders how such a good student is in class 5. The education director also says seriously after seeing Zhouy's performance that Zhouy's combat mindset is strong, but his methods are unwise. The hero continuously destroys them all with his axe and his lightning, just like they cut vegetables in their house. Zhou Yi cuts these monsters like this, sometimes with his axe, sometimes with his lightning. He attacks all of them and kills them one by one. Zhou Yi becomes a kind of death god for all those cat monsters. At this time, their Zhou Yi stands on the dead bodies of those cat monsters. Now, there is not even a single cat monster left there. He kills all of them. However, just then the portal to the next round opens. Zhou is a bit surprised at first, seeing the portal suddenly, but he understands that it is an entrance to the next round. After overcoming every challenge, KK, the favored host, greets everyone on Xuan Live, keeping his audience updated with complete information about the match. The live stream shows on screen as KK excitedly shares every detail, announcing the appearance of Shining Saint Knight, the most popular student with S-grade talent. As Zhou Yi's exam takes an exciting turn, KK highlights the moment by showing the timing on his phone, completing the first wave of the Nightmare map in just 3 minutes and 17 seconds, 29 seconds faster than last year's top achiever. KK's excitement is so intense that the cameraman worries as KK repeatedly moves in front of the camera. Meanwhile, students in the audience discuss how Zhou Yi swings and slashes without tiring, wondering about his high constitution points. Another student mentions Director Zhang's opinion that wasting stamina on the first wave is foolish, making it clear they don't fully grasp Zhou Yi's strategy yet. The students continue their discussions until Mr. Lai interjects, reminding Zhang Fei to focus on the exam, while Director Zhang does not mislead them. Zhang Fei, smiling playfully, teases Mr. Lai by noting his enjoyment of Zhou Yi's performance, though Mr. Fei, visibly annoyed, does not hide his satisfaction as he mutters to stop talking nonsense, a devilish smile betraying his inner delight. Everyone eagerly anticipates Zhou Yi's next move, as he has performed impressively so far, but faces the next stage filled with powerful monsters. Inside the map, Zhou Yi stands ready, assessing the monsters one by one using his evaluation technique and checking various types. First, he checks the Minotaur, a level 14 silver-grade damager with skills like Berserk, Wild Rush, War Stomp, and Super Body. Then he evaluates the Light Cat monster, a level 12 bronze-grade creature skilled in light-type abilities and healing techniques. Next, the Fire Cat monster arrives, level 13, and also bronze grade, mastering fire-type skills like Fireball and Fire Surge, before he assesses the Dark Cat monster, level 11 and another bronze grade, specializing in dark-type skills and curses. Zhou Yi notices the regular warrior-type cat monsters, light cat healers, fire and dark mages, and the silver grade minotaur dealing high damage, forming a classic team of warriors, healers, and mages. The first stage had scattered bandits, but now it's trained soldiers, and he knows the risk of death has increased 100-fold. The monsters roar and charge, Minotaur and others rushing at him directly, while the fire and dark mages prepare their skills from a distance. Before Zhou Yi can react, he's ensnared by the dark mage's curse, but he stays calm while the audience outside erupts in alarm, shouting in concern. Inside, the Minotaur and others close in. Fire monsters unleash fiery assaults, and the curse tightens its grip. Observing their teamwork, Zhou Yi smiles as warriors rush forward, mages buff, and healers apply effects, remarking with a grin that their teamwork isn't bad. Outside, the tension is palpable. Some viewers close their eyes, unable to watch the chaos unfolding, while others watch with bated breath, wondering what will happen next. Zhou Yi stands ready as the monsters charge with fierce aggression. Suddenly, a brilliant golden light glows in his hands, spreading over his body, illuminating his eyes, and radiating a powerful golden aura. With newfound confidence, Zhou Yi activates his new technique, the Cross of Sacred Light. As he completes it, a massive golden cross materializes behind him, instantly affecting the surrounding monsters. Those approaching Zhou Yi scream in agony and collapse, dying without further combat. The cross's brilliance is so intense that even distant monsters struggle to see, while those nearby are almost completely obliterated. The Cross of Sacred Light is a formidable level 4 grade B skill that summons a sacred light to form a cross behind the user, causing continuous light elemental fire damage to every enemy within its range. The monster attacking Zhou Yi is already dead, and he stands calmly, surveying the battlefield littered with dust and fallen monsters, with only the Minotaur left. The audience erupts in chaos, astounded by Zhou Yi's strength. Low-level monsters are annihilated instantly, and the crowd buzzes in disbelief. Someone exclaims that the Saint Knight is not just a support class. Education Director Jan is shocked, unable to believe his eyes as he watches Zhou Yi wield a grade B skill, similar to a talent skill. Skill grades range from lowest to highest, with 7 grades in total. The higher the grade, the more powerful and rare it becomes. Director Jan is baffled, thinking Zhou Yi should only be able to access a grade C skill with the resources provided by the government. He realizes Zhou Yi is far more complex, hiding secrets that even he cannot fathom. Zhou Yi faces the Minotaur alone. The creature points its axe, growling that Zhou Yi is the last one. Zhou Yi smiles, undeterred. Enraged, the Minotaur activates Berserk and Superior Body, then slams the ground with War Stomp. The earth splits, but Zhou Yi dodges effortlessly. The Minotaur charges with Wild Rush, immune to interruptions. Before it lands a blow, Zhou Yi counters with an air slash, sending the beast flying back. Zhou Yi notices the Minotaur's thick skin is tough, so he follows up with Blade of Pure Light. The Minotaur endures, but Zhou Yi knows he needs more force. He channels his strength and lands a powerful blow, piercing through its defenses. The Minotaur crashes down, blood dripping from its mouth. Zhou Yi, cold and composed, asks if it's still alive, raising his foot. The helpless Minotaur, terrified, pleads with its eyes, but Zhou Yi shows no mercy. He stomps down, crushing its head. The beast lets out one final scream before dying. The portal to the next round appears. Outside the battlefield, the audience erupts in excitement, amazed by Zhou Yi's astonishing feat of taking down a 4-meter-tall Minotaur with a single swing, even while it's in berserk mode. Cheers and shouts of admiration fill the air. The host, thrilled, announces Zhou Yi clears the second stage in just 59 seconds. Education Director Jan beams with pride, praising Zhou Yi's timing and strength. He exclaims it's unbelievable that this student only awakened his class a month ago. The headmaster, elated, remarks that fortune is fleeting and it's time their academy has an elite. As Zhou Yi heads toward the boss room, some in the crowd wonder why he isn't taking a break to recover. The education director, noticing this, feels concerned and frustrated, fearing the loss of a potential advantage due to a lack of rest. The headmaster, trying to calm him, suggests Zhou Yi must have his reasons and urges patience. Inside the dungeon, Zhou Yi reaches the boss room and faces the Minotaur King, a formidable level 16 gold-grade monster. The beast roars in rage, furious that a human has dared to enter its domain. Zhou Yi quickly evaluates the monster's stats, but before he can finish, the Minotaur King lunges, shaking the ground and turning the palace into a battlefield. Zhou Yi responds instantly, activating all his buffs: Blessing of Dawn, Gift of Courage, Gift of God, and Gift of Protection, transforming into the initial form of the Saint Knight. The Minotaur King easily blocks Zhou's attacks, hitting back with such powerful blows that Zhou doesn't think even a 4-buffed axe could cut through his tough hide. Zhou was completely worn out because the form he had changed into was using up a huge amount of energy. His hard work pays off as he pierces a small part of the Minotaur King's body, leaving the Minotaur King with a light scratch on his hand. The Minotaur King let out a scream of rage because the game was making him lose his cool. With a fierce resolve, he charged at Zhou Yi with his gun drawn, ready to kill him and end this never-ending battle. Even though Zhou Yi dodges the attack very well, each hit from the Minotaur King is so powerful that it destroys the scenery and covers the area in a thick cloud of dust. Zhou Yi moves back and expertly avoids the Minotaur King's attack. As quickly as lightning, the Minotaur King charges forward and unleashes a strong attack. The move comes at Zhou Yi so fast that it hits him in the stomach and sends him flying through the air. Before hitting a wall, he crashes into a few posts and breaks 4 or 5 of them. Nowhere in the dungeon could you hear a message that said, "Congratulations on completing the Nightmare Difficulty Deep Dark Forest Dungeon." The message told to Zhou how proud the game's developers were that they had finished the Nightmare level Deep Dark Forest Dungeon. Zhou finished his test to get into college and beat the maze in an amazing 9 minutes and 24 seconds. The main character was tired from the fight and was surprised when another notice popped up in front of him. The level of his security is SSS. Congratulations on achieving first place in clearing this map. When he read the message, it surprised him. First place. Did this mean they would become the best in Kong District? When MC saw his new record, he loved it so much. He jumps with joy as he thinks about what he has done. He thinks about the year he moved, the death of his mother, the illness of his sister, and the huge amount of debt he got from Jan's medical bills. Everyone was putting a lot of pressure on him at that time, but he stayed strong and didn't give up even though things were hard. He thought that if he couldn't improve his stats, he would keep working on his fighting skills and keep his fighting spirit alive. He remembers the moment he got the system for the first time. It was a big turning point in his life that gave him a second shot. But he still has a strong grip on fate. He is determined to work harder than everyone else and take advantage of the chance. As he thinks about all of these things, he becomes more serious. Her heart stayed firm, determined not to change. There was no way that anyone could change it. When the alerts stop, a gateway appears and serves as the exit. It was time for the Zhou Yi to claim their prize, so they went inside. How much does he have made on this map altogether? There were 5,212 experience points and 20 skill points given to the Zhou. With the increase of 20 free points, he has moved up 3 levels in this match at the same time. He is at a very important point. The next prize you'll get when you hit level 13 is the Forest Belt, which has great stats. It boosts strength and constitution by 10% and 7%, respectively. You have to reach at least level 10 to wear it. What happened? During the battle in the forest, the user keeps getting improvements that are tied to their constitution. These improvements restore 3 life points, 3 stamina, and 3 mana. The Forest Ring is the next thing on the list. It is a great ornament that raises fertility by 8% and intelligence by 10%. It needs to be at least level 10. The next thing on the list is wild strawberries, which are known to recover a small amount of mana when eaten. The Minotaur King card is the last thing shown. It is a gold level card known for making items 20% stronger after they have been enchanted. People in the crowd cheer loudly when Zhou Yi comes out of the opening. The crowd cheered and welcomed him with open arms. "I love you," the girls yelled. Some people started to see Zhou Yi as a god, while others said he was great. Zhou Yi stands there stunned and unable to believe what has happened to all of these people. Suddenly, a group of people walks up to him. The headmaster and the education director walk up to Zhou Yi and smile broadly. At the same time, the media keeps flashing their cameras at him to record everything. The headmaster laughed out loud as he spoke to Zhou Yi and said, Clearing the nightmare difficulty by yourself in 10 minutes is an honor for the Second Academy that has never been seen before. With years of experience studying for tests, it's clear that Zhou Yi has what it takes to become the best in Xuan District. Zhou Yi seemed to have a bright future. Zhou Yi said in a humble tone, "You are praising me too much," when he heard the headmaster's compliment. One of the students' cars pulled up out of the blue at that very moment, shocking them. People in the crowd are shocked and wondering who is driving the car and why they would be so bold as to enter the place in this way. One of the students screams in shock, "Holy _____. Isn't this something amazing that can turn on flight mode? The S400? The car, which is worth as much as a house in the city, amazes everyone who sees it." When Zhou Yi was ready to get in the car, the education director waved and said, "The result will come in at least 3 days. They will be told as soon as it gets there." Zhou Yi expressed thanks to Director Jan for this. The headmaster was very happy and told Zhou Yi to take a break and stay positive because good news was on the way. Following this, the story moves to a hospital. After they recently talked, Xiao Wenbing quickly kept his promise and made sure that Yin was moved to the hospital's luxury room, where a dedicated medical team would keep an eye on him 24 hours a day. Zhou Yi went to the place with the plan of meeting his sister there. As soon as he gets into the elevator, a nurse greets him with a smile. Zhou Yi tells the nurse, "I've come here to meet Yin." He has a good news for her. He tells the elevator to go up to the 26th floor. "I heard your exam was today," the nurse tells him. "Results that are excellent must be achieved." As the lift goes up, the temperature slowly drops with each passing second. The nurse stood there confused by the cool air, but Zhou Yi's mind started to put together the hints that were all around them. When Zhou Yi and the nurse get to the 26th floor, they are shocked and amazed by the absolutely stunning view they see. It was fully frozen on the floor. The area is covered in ice, and the doctors can't move because of it. Zhou Yi became very worried about his sister when he saw what was going on and ran inside quickly. When the nurse tries to stop Zhou Yi, she too becomes immobile as soon as she puts her hand out just past the lift. Zhou Yi goes to the hospital to share the good news with his sister, but upon reaching there, he sees that his sister is in serious trouble due to her bloodline. As soon as Zhou Yi enters the room, he sees an ice dragon in front of him. The dragon, in spirit form, comes out of his sister's body and freezes the entire room. All the doctors present are also frozen, and his sister writhes in unconscious pain on the bed. Seeing this, Zhou Yi cannot control himself. Unable to watch his sister suffer, he prepares to attack the dragon, gathering energy for a physical attack. He is ready to strike. He cannot bear to see her in pain anymore. However, before Zhou Yi attacks, the healer, King, stops him. King heals Zhou Yi's sister in the room. Despite the situation, she remains safe due to King's healing power, but both of King's hands are half frozen. Zhou Yi stops his attack, understanding the reason behind King's intervention. He approaches King, who devotes all her energy to saving Xuan and is visibly worried. King feels very tired, and apart from her hands, her feet are also frozen, but she continues to work. The spiritual dragon emits extremely cold air throughout the room. Any normal person is there, and they freeze within minutes. However, since both Zhou Yi and King are awakeners, they can protect themselves to some extent. Zhou Yi looks at King with a questioning expression, trying to understand what is happening and why she stops him from attacking. Still focused on her healing, King explains to Zhou Yi that if they attack carelessly, Xian's heart shatters. Zhou Yi wonders why there is a dragon there, as he has never seen it before. King informs him that Xian's cold disease suddenly ignites and freezes everyone around her. At this moment, King appears exhausted. She tries to control Xian's condition for a long time, but it's clear she can't hold on much longer. She tells Zhou Yi that the best she can do right now is to stop the cold from spreading beyond that floor. He urges her to hurry and get out. Zhou Yi becomes emotionally serious and asks what will happen to Ziyun. It is important to note that sometimes Zhou's sister is called Zue and sometimes Ziyin, so one should not get confused. Similarly, Zhou's name changes, being called JY or something else in different contexts. King, feeling disappointed, expresses that without a high-level priest, he can only do so much. Seeing King's disappointment, Zhou Yi understands that she cannot help much more. Determined to protect his sister, he steps forward and uses all his skill points from the system to upgrade slow recovery. As soon as all the skill points are used, slow recovery at level 4 instantly enhances to level 10, becoming slow regeneration. The skill gradually heals the health and mana of teammates within a certain range for a certain period of time. Without wasting time, Zhou Yi uses the enhanced slow regeneration on his sister. A divine light spreads throughout the room, and a divine symbol appears behind Zhou Yi, visible due to the skill's increase. The effect of the skill is so powerful that King, whose body is already more than half frozen, returns to normal. Seeing this, King exclaims in surprise that the magic in the Saint Knight's healing skill is very powerful. He says it can even surpass the effect of a level 23 priest like him. On the other hand, Zhou Yi focuses fully on healing his sister with all his energy. The ice slowly starts to melt from her body, which is now completely frozen. Zhou Yi manages to melt a significant amount of ice, but he knows he won't be able to cure her completely. He tells King that he will hold it there. He goes and informs Secretary Xiao immediately. She asks him to invite a high-level priest soon. King hears this and replies that a high-level priest has a packed schedule. Secretary Xiao books the appointment for next week. They say that even if they call her now, she won't be able to come in time. Zhou Yi looks at her seriously and tells her that all she needs to do is inform Secretary Xiao that if he can call a high-level priest there, she promises to do one thing for him unconditionally in the future. King hesitates at first, but then, after considering it, leaves the room, stating that he is going. Inside the room, Zhou Yi is busy taking care of his sister's safety. Ziyan experiences a burst of cold every night for the past year. Under the influence of the cold aura, she experiences intense pain across her body. Zhou Yi knows the cold is becoming more severe recently, but he doesn't realize it will get this bad. A lot of time passes since Zhou Yi starts using his skills, and gradually, with the onset of darkness, the entire building starts to freeze. Inside the room, Zhou Yi is engulfed by ice. A thin layer of ice begins to form on his body, and it looks as if his power is about to end at any moment. Even though he is still saving his sister with slow regeneration, the spiritual ice dragon completely targets him. Due to this, Zhui's power continuously decreases. Suddenly, a green energy ball appears and attacks the dragon. The energy ball strikes the ice dragon repeatedly, causing it to feel pain. Xuan feels the pain due to her connection with the dragon. Seeing this, Zhou Yi shouts angrily to stop. He warns not to touch her. At that moment, the energy ball hits Zhou Yi directly in the stomach, throwing him far away from the dragon's range. A high priestess appears and, after pushing Zhou Yi aside, commands the dragon to come towards her. The ice dragon, furious because of her attack, charges at her without delay. However, the high priestess is ready. She continuously attacks the dragon with her weapon, using spell-like attacks. Wherever she strikes, that area of the dragon gets captured in a spell. The spiritual ice dragon feels helpless, completely trapped by those magical spells and unable to move. Now, only its mouth remains free, but it is soon captured by the priestess as well. The dragon is trapped, and its anger is visible in its eyes. The high priestess delivers a final, powerful attack on the dragon and sends it back into Xian's body. As soon as the dragon enters Xian's body, her condition normalizes, and Zhou Yi feels relieved to see that she is finally cured. Afterward, the high priestess uses her power to melt the ice on the entire floor. Then, she looks at Zhou Yi and states that he must be Zhou Yi. He hears about her. After stabilizing the situation, the high priestess introduces herself. She introduces herself as Chui Lia, from King Yin City, a level 35 secondary awakened priest. Hearing this, Zhou Yi responds that it is nice to meet Miss Chui. Chui then explains that Director Jan specifically asks him to treat her sister in advance. She has some thoughts about Zhou Yi, recalling that if Director Jan doesn't tell her about Zhou Yi's potential to take first place, she doesn't break the rules. Seeing Zhou Yi fight the cold for so long, she decides that Director Jan does not lie to her. Zhou Yi asks Chui about his sister's condition and whether it is curable. Chui explains that cold energy seeps out and solidifies into a form, which is a sign of bloodline awakening. Hearing this, Zhou Yi is completely surprised and can only utter two words, bloodline awakening. The high priestess continues that when the eternal game first appears, many players choose characters from other races like elves, giants, demons, and more. The game merges with reality, and those players inherit the traits of those bloodlines. People with elven bloodlines have greener eyes and longer ears, while humans with giant bloodlines grow up to 3 to 4 meters tall. Over the past 200 years, these players intermarry with humans, and their bloodlines become diluted. Their traits and powers gradually fade, except under a special condition known as bloodline awakening. Zhou Yi adds that bloodline awakening can bring both misfortune and fortune. A successful awakening allows individuals to control the power of other races, and their level and learning ability are greatly enhanced as well. They say that if the awakening fails, it can result in paralysis or even death on the spot. She explains more about Zhou Yi's sister's condition. He says that her sister is suffering from the cold because her body cannot handle her bloodline. After seeing the ice dragon, he confirms that her sister possesses a rare, freezing bloodline. She states that if she wants to carry forward this rare bloodline, she needs to change her constitution. Zhou Yi informs Zhou Yi about a special treasure, the freezing lotus that can alter a human's constitution. Xuan thinks this rare item might help her adapt to her bloodline, giving her a chance to control it and avoid further suffering. However, she mentions that the treasure, the freezing lotus, is extremely rare. The last time it appears is at an auction 30 years ago, where an unknown person buys it for 1,300 million. The high priest shares some final advice with Zhou Yi before leaving. She warns him that, just like his sister cannot suppress the cold any longer, it automatically erupts in 3 months. She mentions a last resort option, the Great Sealing skill, which seals Xian's bloodline. However, this means Xuan is unable to level up in the future. Hearing this, Zhou Yi feels a wave of sadness wash over him as he sits in the room, looking at his sister with a heavy heart. He focuses on his phone, yet his mind is occupied with worry for his sister. 5 days later, Zhou Yi engages in intense training. He completes some of his daily tasks, including deep squats, push-ups, sit-ups, and weapon swinging, all 200 times each. As soon as he finishes, a system notification appears, prompting him to choose a reward. Zhou Yi usually selects stat points as his daily quest reward. As a Saint Knight, he recognizes that constitution and intelligence are crucial, but he also understands that he cannot ignore other stats. He employs the 2-3-3-2 method to distribute his points evenly across 4 stats, ensuring balanced development to minimize his weaknesses. At that moment, another notification pops up, announcing that the exam results are out. Zhou Yi expresses his thrill upon discovering that he has secured first place in the Sukong district exam. The rewards start pouring in as he receives the level S divine skill, God Hand, along with the S grade divine item, the one-time mystery skill of exorcism. He receives the rare skill, Punishment of Light, along with 30 free stat points and 30 skill points. Zhou Yi's first place ranking is making waves everywhere because of his amazing achievement. News anchors talk about the district's leading scorer, and Zhou Yi's name is now well known as the Black Horse in the headlines. Jiangli City is being announced as the top city all around. RMC is in the news because, even though he is just level 10, he takes first place, a really surprising achievement. When RMC steps into the secret realm, he is at level 10, and now everyone is talking about him. They discuss his awakening ceremony, where a special event takes place, showing right away that he comes in first. The headlines talk about his awakening class and his unique ability. After the results, Education Director Jan is surrounded by the media, all eager to interview him about RMC. The director praises RMC, saying he has always believed Zhou Yi would succeed since his awakening as a Saint Knight. People watching the news seem puzzled about RMC's class. They can't believe that the person who comes in first is a Saint Knight, thinking of it as just a support class. Students are gathered, chatting about the news and showing their surprise. A student believes they deserve honesty. A Saint Knight spends a lot of time clearing a realm by themselves. People at a nearby table are chatting about RMC. Someone yells that it's level 10, and they conquer the Nightmare Realm all by themselves. He wonders if she is joking with him. He wants to know if he did something wrong. A girl pulls out her phone and shares a recording, saying she has the video. He says that everything he does is genuine. Everyone is surprised as they see RMC perform in the recording. They begin talking in a puzzled way about how strong it is. They question why the Holy Cross seems more powerful than a top-level mage's fire magic. He thinks about the weapon blessing, a gift from God, and the blessing of courage, wondering if anyone can keep track of how many boosts he has. At the same time, a young man with red hair, wearing red clothes, observes the footage of RMC's battle in the Hidden Realm. He sees the whole fight and notes how long it takes RMC to finish it. The young man with red hair is clearing the same secret realm, but RMC is 20 seconds ahead of him. He is really angry, seeing RMC as his opponent. He is an awakener of fire, with flames flickering around him as he thinks about RMC. Angry, he shouts that Zhou Yi has the nerve to take his honor. When his fire touches something close by, a little explosion happens in his room. His final words before the explosion are that Zhou Yi is calling for his own demise. The scene changes to the main character as he strolls down the street, glancing at his phone. He notices a few messages. The Jiangli government puts 5 million into the account that ends with 7013. They want to check if the transfer is okay. The Jiangli government has moved 2 million into the account that ends with 7013. She requests to verify the transfer. While he is reading these messages, his phone starts to ring. He picks up the phone and asks Secretary Xiao what's going on. She wonders if something is bothering me. Secretary Xiao says that Mr. Zhou Yi, after doing really well on the exam, is getting a reward from the government of 5 million in cash and a fancy house. She wonders if he has a favorite spot for the mansion or if they should pick one for him. RMC pauses to think for a moment. News of his first place win is clearly spreading. He says that he will let her pick it for him. The secretary tells him that teachers from the top 3 universities are coming to see him and asks if he wants a ride before ending the call. RMC goes down, and right then, someone shows up in front of him. He sees this person and realizes they are already there. A teacher from Rongyong University is in front of RMC for recruitment. The same bald old man is talking badly about RMC again when the teachers from 4 universities come to recruit him. Zhou Yi is taken aback by the unexpected arrival of the teacher from Rongyong University. A different voice chimes in, recalling that Yong University thinks Zhou Yi is too full of himself. When they heard the unusual voice, Zhou Yi and the man turned their gaze upward, spotting someone coming down from a helicopter. An unknown person keeps saying that Zhou Yi is getting criticized for being too arrogant. She wants to know why he is here today. Upon hearing these words, the recruitment teacher from Rongyong University advises to be mindful of their language. Jiao and Fu is unable to recognize the reality and is let go from the university. After saying this, he offers RMC 4 million if he goes to their university. At the same time, the guy from the helicopter lands and chuckles, saying that whatever offers Rongyong University made, Moto University will match it with double. Moto University has Zhou Yi. Everyone leaves as soon as they can. The Rongyong University teacher feels a bit angry after hearing such things because he is being repeatedly interrupted.